Hello, my friends. How are you? We are discussing the paper of Refrigeration and Air Conditioning 2018, and we have solved few questions. There is one question which is asked is what is evaporative cooling? Okay, so today I am going to tell you about what is evaporative cooling. Okay, let's start this thing. What is evaporative cooling? And then we do other things. Evaporative cooling is basically a process in which you decrease the temperature of air by evaporating the water which is present into the air. Okay, when the water which is present into the air evaporates, it takes heat from the air and the temperature of the air reduces. So this is a figure you can see. It is an example of an air cooler. It is also a type of air conditioner that uses the power of evaporation to cool air temperature. Okay, we all have seen this air cooler in our home. So on which function this air cooler works? It works on the principle of evaporation. It works on the principle of evaporation. Okay, let us see. When water evaporates, it turns from liquid to gas, and the highest energy particle leave the surface first, and it results in drop in temperature. Okay, so you see a ocean surface, and on the top of it, the particles receive the maximum sunlight, and they have the highest temperature, and so they leave the surface, and when they leave the surface, it results in a drop in temperature of the remaining water. Okay, so you can see those particles which are highest energy, they leave the surface and it results in drop in temperature. Okay, there is another example, a moist cloth. When you keep it on your head, you will feel good on a hot day as it lowers your head temperature and you feels good. You feels good when you place a moist cloth on your head because as you kept a moist cloth on your head, it will take away the heat from your head and it will feel you much better. Okay, let us discuss how this process works. So, evaporative cooling process works on the same principle, and we have cooling fan. So a cooling fan basically consists of or a cooler, a general machine or a cooler. So a cooler works on a air cooler works on evaporative cooling. It consists of a fan, a thick pad, a water reservoir, and some additional components. We discuss about these components. Some components like air filters and water pump. Okay, so we discuss about this component later. So first is the fan. What does this fan does? This fan draws hot air into the machine and across the cooler pad. When this fan rotates, it takes air and this air passes through these cooling pads and the temperature of the air get reduced as it crosses these pads. These are the thick pads which are used to absorb water from the reservoir and have many layers to increase the surface area as the hot air actually what happens, these pads, they are filled with water. Okay, these pads are moist in condition, and when dry air passes through them, the water particles present in them evaporates, and when these particle evaporates, they take the energy for evaporation from this air. They take energy from this air, and by doing so they reduce the temperature of the air. Okay, I hope you got the point. Water particles evaporates. Okay, water particles evaporates and for evaporating they take energy. Water particles evaporate, and for evaporating they take energy from the dry air. And when some energy is taken away from dry air, the temperature of dry air get falls. Okay, I think this is clear. So it will drop by 20 degrees Celsius. Okay, now fan, then after passing the air through the pads, the fan blows that air into the room. Okay, so what happens actually, this is the fan. This takes air from outside, air passes through these pads, and then this fan supplies this air to your room. Okay, so this is the room, this is your room, this is a fan, and this is a thick pad, and this is ambient air. Okay, I hope this is clear. Next, some additional components are also installed like air filters. So they are used to improve the air quality. Okay. At some places the air are not clean and some people are allergic to air quality. So these are used to improve air quality. Water pumps are used to streamline the absorption into the cooling pad. So water pumps, what they do, they help in supplying the water to the pads. Okay, ice pack in some coolers you are also seen, there is a compartment for placing ice. So this is used to cool the water further. Okay, and in some new additional coolers remote controls are also provided to operate it from some distance. Okay, what is the advantage of evaporative coolers? Okay, so the best advantage of evaporative coolers is they are energy efficient. So they require very less energy in comparison to air conditioner. In comparison to air conditioners, they require very less energy. And so if they require less energy, so they releases less carbon footprints, and hence the solution is sustainable in nature. Okay, and there are many advantage of evaporative coolings, like they are less costly also, but the most important advantage is they are energy efficient. But one disadvantage of evaporative cooling is that they work best in the dry climates. Okay, so if you are at a place where the air is dry, only in that places evaporative coolers works well. Okay, now from refrigeration and air conditioning student point of view, the process in evaporative cooling process is cooling and humidification. Cooling and humidification, it is represented on psychometric chart by this from. So if you are a student of refrigeration and air conditioning, so this process of evaporative cooling is cooling and humidification, and it is represented on psychometric chart by this line. And so at this point, if you know the specific humidity omega 1, and if you know the enthalpy at this point is H1, then you can calculate the specific humidity at this point and enthalpy at this point by using the relation omega 2 is equal to omega 1 plus mw upon ma, where mw is the mass of water vapor, it is the mass of water supplied, and ma is the mass of dry air. Mw is equal to mass of water supplied, and ma is the mass of air. Ma is equal to mass of air supplied. Okay, you can also calculate the enthalpy at this point. H2 is equal to H1 plus W2 minus W1 multiplied by HFW, where H1 is the enthalpy at point 1, W2 and W1 are the um, specific humidities at point 1 and 2, and HFW is the enthalpy of water injected, of water injected. Okay, suppose water is injected at water is injected at the temperature 20 degrees Celsius. So you have to take the enthalpy of water from steam table. Okay, and from steam table, which enthalpy you take? Suppose if you have HF, if you have HFG, and if you have HG, which enthalpy you take? Okay, so the correct answer is you take the enthalpy HF because it is pure water. Okay, so this thing is important from the point of view of a refrigeration and air conditioning student. Okay, and previously, so I hope you understand the process of evaporative cooling. Evaporative cooling is done by the evaporation of water into the dry air. Okay. Okay, thank you. If you like it, then please like and subscribe. Thank you.